Good. They're progressing. We're pretty blessed that we got two quarterbacks that started games last year and played well. That's a rarity, as you know, nowadays. I think to have true game experience for depth in that room. But him and Jason are both having a great camp. So learning, growing, still things to improve on. But, going into a fall when you got two guys that starting games, you're kind of blessed, Well, as I've said before, one of the things I think that we do a really good job is making sure that our best personnel on the field, whatever they are. If we got 7 really good offensive linemen, we'll have packages for them, right? If you got 5 really good receivers, we'll have packages for them. And when you look at where we're at, especially from a skill position standpoint, there's a lot of competition and parity in a lot of the rooms. And so one of the things that we'll be able to use is, multiple personnel groupings in each of them, right? And have a nice little package for everything. Always. It's not just the quarterback position, but it's definitely all positions. They'll be at some point, I'm sure they'll release a two deep, and it's the names that you don't see in that two deep that'll have to perform and execute in any college football team that will really, a lot of times, win or lose a game. So, at the quarterback position, obviously, it is really important that those guys are ready to go. And both those guys are doing a really good job in fall camp, too. We are so much further along as a program than we were a year ago in terms of understanding how we do things and understanding the offense. You don't like talking about the past so much, but as I explained to the guys yesterday, I said it's a frame of reference for everyone to understand. I have my voice. Last year at this time, my voice was already gone because we feel like we're yelling and the expectations in the field about how we transition, how we do things, and that's not an issue at all, right? Our guys have really understand how we're doing it, and we're further along.
Along those lines, I know it's still relatively new being here, but this is pretty significant for Kansas to name a quarterback or Lance all but name him, right? What does that do for a rebuilding program? I mean, you mentioned you got to have guys that are ready to play. Obviously, you might need them all, but the idea of just building that thing as you look into the future.
Well, I think it goes to show that you identify guys that you have confidence in, right? And we have confidence in him. I'm not saying that we don't have confidence in Jason. Like I said, he's had a couple of really good practices right now. He actually had a really good spring football, right? So when you can go out there and you say those sort of things, and hey, this guy's the starter at this position, or this guy's going to play here, and a lot of times that stuff is just organically happens because you look at, some guy played 1,000 reps last year, and now you kind of, you pencil him as the starter this year. But it gives everyone confidence that that's a person that we believe in, right? As a staff and as a program. But going back to, the competition piece, one of the things that we're trying to do here is definitely not have anyone in our program start by default. Does that make sense? Like, we don't want anyone in our program just to play because they're here and they're the last one here, right? So we always want to have competition. And I alluded to this in the spring when someone asked a question about the quarterbacks. When you have competition in that room and when you see that the two people are competing in a healthy way, right, to perform, that trickles into all the positions in the football team, in all 3 phases.
Does your mind ever go anymore to where Jalon was that close to redshirting entirely last year and then now he's here? I mean, do you think much on that or have you moved on?
Well, I think if you go back to that scenario in that moment in time, we wouldn't be saying those things as confidently as we are now about his performance had he not had couple more games of experience under his belt.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how I would say that.
Andy, you said you want to spend some time during the offseason trying to slow the game down, just understand more the mental side of things. I know it's 2 days, so you don't know that yet, but how much do you also feel like that's something that will help benefit him as he moves on, just reading coverages and understanding what's being asked of him and what's given?
Yeah, so what we have tried to do as you grow and build a program, and I've said this before, so I don't mean to be redundant, but last year was all about let's eliminate bad football, right? We have to do that, okay? And that's still a focus. We're never going to stop de-emphasizing that. But what I propose to the offense, and specifically the quarterback position, is now we can shift from avoiding bad football to the spectrum of let's execute really good football. Right? Okay, and obviously you win a lot of games when you're doing that, right? Those two things together. And so our focus has now shifted on, as you're pointing out, the execution of what's happening in those 4 to 6 seconds of a snap, of a play. But when you talk about, the game slowing down, right? And you talk about, which is almost cliche, but how does a game slow down? Well, all of our guys now have, what I say, reference the calls of our offense so much more. They've practiced it so many more reps. You know, they understand it. We go out there, and a year ago when we walk through, and again, I'm just using it as a reference point, the corrections that are being made are just numerous and frequent, the details. And now we go out there, we call the play, the guys break the huddle line up, and there's just, here we go. We know how to do it. And so the focus has really shifted to, we're eliminating a lot of the stress that happens outside of the 4 to 6 seconds, you with me, of an actual snap, which, to your point, allows our kids to play fast and win with speed, and the game, as you say, slows down for them.
I guess maybe to that point, overall, scheme-wise, as things evolve, you're going to add wrinkles, but how much do you think you've got down kind of the basics of what you want to have installed at this point? How much are you now able to kind of build upon that, being it's year two, and guys are familiar with what you generally, how you want to approach this game?
Oh, significantly. You know, one of the other things that has shifted for us is, you know, last year you just are kind of getting out there and just teaching guys how to run the plays. And you probably de-emphasize like what we call situational football and situational awareness. This camp, we've been able to focus a lot on, you know, already, just 2 days in, the situations that come up in the game that we need to win and execute in for us to win close games. And so, again, that focus from, hey, let's just worry about not turning the ball over and giving up sacks and all the things that we know, right, penalties. And we did. We took big major strides in that area to now to let's go out here and execute on a 3rd and medium, right? Let's convert in the red zone, right? And we got 1st and goal inside the 10. That's been a lot of the focus fall camp right now.
Curious for you, knowing someone and finding someone like that that played 13 snaps last year. How does that evaluation process go, and what was it about him you saw that made you like?
Well, I think when you look at it, when you have older players coming to the program, right? There's a couple of different things that, you know, that they have experience, you know, being in a Division I program and all the expectations from, you know, nutrition, right, and to being placed on time and a lot of those things. So their assimilation into kind of our culture that way seems to be a little bit better, right? You know what I mean, a little bit faster. And a lot of times when you think about people moving on, they're looking for opportunity, right? And that's what we provide for a lot of players, is how we practice and how we do things. So they're going to get a lot of practice reps to be able to demonstrate what they're able to do. But his learning and his growth isn't much different than other people's, right? The advantage that he would have coming into a program, again, to reference where we were a year ago, is we had 110 people who had no idea what was going on. Do you follow me? And now we have a handful of new players on all, you know, all phases of the game. We got 90% of them that know how we've practiced. Right? They know how we do things. And then when programs really grow and take off, and when kids really have an understanding of football, it's when peer teaching starts to occur. When, let's say, Lawrence Arnold can grab a young, brand-new receiver in the program and say, hey, here's how we run this route. That is way more meaningful than when I say it to him, right? Because I probably already said it to him, and then a guy like Lawrence said it to him on the practice field after he made the mistake. You know what I mean? So all the new guys that have joined our program are going to benefit a lot from having 90% of the players come back and knowing how we do things.
And what was it in the skill set that you felt we need to have this to our roster?
A mature physical body, right? You know what I mean? Who on his high school film, he did an unbelievable job, like his contested catch ability, right? You know what I mean when I say that. You know, his speed, right? All the things that you would think about the characteristics of a good receiver, he definitely demonstrated on his high school film. You know, and then as you investigate and research people that you're having to join your program, you know, the feedback that you get about, is it different, right, from high school than what we saw in college? The answer is no. So we're excited about it.
How do you see him fitting into the mix? Again, I know it's just day two.
Yep.
But clearly, with your plans through the summer, and trying to see how guys are fitting their spot. You've got guys coming back who are still generally unproven, and then you've got another guy who's unproven and Doug. How does that all come together?
Well, they grow together, right? And so sometimes when, and there's good and bad about this, maybe we're talking to somebody brand new to the program, and to your point about there's everyone in our room still needs to develop in the receiver room. We're talking to them too. And so there can be growth together, which should provide some a spark, because everyone knows that there's an opportunity, right? Nobody comes in and there's nothing established like, hey, this, you know, we got 4 guys back who played 700 snaps a year for the last 3 years, right? So everyone knows, and that goes back to the competition thing that we've talked about in this program before, about how that internal healthy competition makes everybody better. And I can just go back to my college experience when I played. You know, I was a center. I competed for the starting job when I, you know, with one of my best friends, right? And to learn how to do that healthy, and I know that we both got better from that, right?
You look at happy to feed.
Yep, and that's a challenge, I think, all across the board, right? Because if you ask, you could probably pull every one of our skill players in here that would tell you that they all need the ball and want the ball, and we want that. So, right, we don't discourage having confidence in their ability to perform. But first of all, we multiple, right? And I've said before that your personnel is the system, right? The system should never dictate, well, this guy can't play because he doesn't play our version of inside receiver or running back. And so our goal is always to let's get our best football players in the field, right? Whatever that might be. And so as you put it out in the past, we have a history of being able to utilize two backs and multiple tight ends and multiple receivers and all these personnel groupings to allow us to put stress on defenses, right? But still staying within the framework of things that we do. So to your point about how do we go about doing that, what are the things we do, we're still in the growth phase with all those guys, and we're still evaluating, right? And we're still trying to figure out, and I think this is one of the most important things that coaches have to do, and it's one of the hardest things, is really evaluate what are the capabilities of your players and what are their limitations, right? Because every player has limitations, right? Every team across the country wishes that their kid was 1/10 of a second faster in the 40, minimally, right? Okay, everybody. But the programs that get it figured out, and this is where we're at, is what is that person's true capability and what's his limitation? And as long as you can fit those puzzle pieces together correctly, then you'll have a good synergy on the offensive side of the ball.
So when you tailor an offense to the guys that you get and their strengths and their skills, you also can't get away from the principles of how you want to run things. That seems like that could be kind of tenuous at times.
Well, I like to believe that we're multiple enough schematically that whatever package or play type needs to grow, we've already run it. Does that make sense? And I'll just use some personnel examples. 1 year when I was coordinating, we had incredible receiver depth. Well, we can put those players on the field at the same time. There's nothing that says you have to have a tight end and a running back out there, right? So put them all on the field together and do things that we've already taught them to do and that we know that they're capable of doing, right? And that's actually pretty fun. It's literally like putting a little puzzle together, right? And then you go out there, but to understand someone's capabilities and understand their limitations, you need reps. So and that's kind of where we're going right now. We're excited about all the new guys. We're excited about the running back room for sure. We're still pushing to see what they're capable of and what their limitations are. Because if their capabilities are incredibly high, that's when you get, man, he's got 4 running backs out there at the same time, right? Do it. What the heck? We can, as long as the box doesn't change for the offensive line and the quarterback, we're good.
Hey, Andy, on the tight ends, you got 3 of those, and pretty deep group there. Just talk about the group and what the adds.
Competition, right? One of the things that we wanted to develop right away when we were coming here was we had to make sure that we had tight ends that we know that could block C and D gaps for us. And so that's been a big emphasis for us since we got here to help the running backs that we've talked about, right? To help create some one-on-one matchups for our receivers outside and allow us to be multiple. So he's helped with that he's a natural individual that way. But much like we've talked about all these other rooms, because we've talked about the receiver room, we've talked about the quarterback room, we've talked about the running back room, in the parity, in the competition, I'm going to say the same thing about the tight ends, right? And so whereas we grind and we go through fall camp and we go, okay, hey, this guy's the best at this and this guy's the best at that. In all the positions, you can, again, get the puzzle pieces to fit together and grow. And then be getting reps. Hey, thank you for asking about the O-line finally. I appreciate that.
What's it like to have 4 guys back while Monzu's been in the program? And kind of a solid base there to start with.
Well, it's really helpful because you can maybe kind of like the examples I gave before about now hey, Earl Bostic's been here for a while. He gets it. He knows what these calls are played and they're like that. Now you have him who can grab a brand new person in a program like Pooney and say, hey, listen, this is this technique. This is what we do here, right? This is how, this is what this call means, right? This tag means in the run game or the pass protection game. And so you can have some growth from everybody outside of that group. You know what I mean? What you think would be your starting 5, right? But the challenge is still for those guys, we still have to develop, make ground in that area as well with those 5 guys, right? So we have to simultaneously identify what they need to grow in, get them better, and then to collectively that whole group can come along and we can create some depth.
Is it noticeable at all, the difference in like weight and strength for the linemen in the program from last year to this?
They look different. We haven't practiced with pads yet, right? So I think if you were to talk to me 2 or 3 days from now, I would tell you better about that. But I like the way we're bending, I like the way we're moving, I like the way we look, right? Because that matters, right? A lot.
Jared Casey, the board, that's a 2-point conversion last year, especially at the end. What is
What's realistic for Jared Casey? I'm trying to slip in some sort of joke about Applebee's. I feel like I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but he, much like we were just talking about the tight ends. Because right now, and he had a great spring, and he's done great through fall camp. He's able to execute everything that we're asking our tight ends to do, from blocking the C gap to running routes, right, at a high level. So bare minimum for my expectation would be that he allows us to be multiple at that position group as well.
Anything else?
One more. You mentioned you would have lost your voice or had lost your voice by this point. I wonder, does that translate to the whole staff, not just the voice part, but specifically with Lance? I mean, you know him so well. Does he seem more comfortable to you this year than?
We're never comfortable, right? That's why I think that's part of the reason we're here, because we're always growing and we're always challenging and kind of pushing ourselves and looking for improvement. But I would say that we know, you know what I mean? Like we have a way better understanding of what some of those limitations are, maybe of individuals, right? We know, more importantly, the individual players on our team a lot better. We know how to connect with player A, and he's different than player B, right? And it's just like any other relationship. The more you're around each other, the more you figure each other out, the more comfortable you are being around individuals, right? And so it stems from that, right? Because when you first come in, a lot of times when I go back to you're losing your voice, that's happening a lot of times because you're communicating to 30 people, you know, what's supposed to happen here. But now it might be just an individual, hey, listen, here's how we do this drill, you right? Here's how we run between drills. Here's how we transition off the field between series, as opposed to having to telling a whole 11 offense, right? All 11 guys.
Sure. So when players know, like you said, they can play faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest advantage for coaches when they know? I mean, is it a vibe? Is it being more relaxed? Is it being more confident in your guys, yourself? Whatever? I mean,
All of those things. I think you've kind of answered the question that way with it. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to really coach the details, maybe for guys, right? You're not speaking as much in generalities, right? You know, and so you can say, hey, listen, let's just take the tight end group, for example. Hey, Mason Fairchild, here's exactly what you need to do to continue to improve. Here's exactly what you're doing well, right? And you have more energy and time and focus to do that because you're not coaching, you know, 8 other tight ends and how to transition from drills because they know it. And what's starting to happen in our program, and this is great, and this is when it starts to roll and take off, is you get the players that are holding each other accountable for those sort of things, right? I don't need to say anything to this young man. You brought up Tavita before. I don't need to say anything to Tavita about this because one of those other tight ends has already got him and is coaching him, right? Talking to him about it, right? That goes back to the peer teaching thing that we talked about before.
Everything feel, how's it feel to get back?
You know, it's definitely exciting to be able to, you know, get back out here with my boys, you know, getting back right before the season, you know, just having that type of energy in the locker room. It's just good to be able to see it all, you know, go out on the field and do it.
How's comfort, confidence, everything feeling for you?
Definitely getting more comfortable, you know, getting more confident, you know, definitely working with, you know, some new guys who are new faces, new names, you know. It's definitely been good.
Lance talked yesterday about how he expects you to be the guy that starts at quarterback. What conversations have you had with him about that?
You know, I haven't really had any conversation with him about that because, you know, at the end of the day, same preparation, same doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter which group I'm running with. I'm going to keep on trying to get better as a player and keep getting better as a quarterback and as a man.
What does it mean you hear him say that so early? It's been a long time since actually.
For me, I mean, like I said, you know, it doesn't really mean anything to me for real besides, you know, I'm going to be able to go out there and be able to play, you know, be able to show more people what I'm able to do. But at the end of the day, my preparation is still going to be the same.
You talked about your relationship with Jason before. I used Carson was here expected and all that kind of stuff, but when this sort of stuff comes out, labels that we put on it, do you guys get together and talk about it, or is it just your friendship?
You know, I mean, me and Bean have a great relationship. We're very tight, you know, especially outside of football. So, you know, that type of stuff, we don't really worry about all that stuff because we know at the end of the day, it's not in our hands, it's in the coach's hands.
What have you, anything new you've learned from some of your receivers these last 2 days in terms of just getting everybody together, getting a chance to really work with them in this kind of setting for the first time since a year ago, even some of the new guys for the first time really officially?
You know, just being able to get more comfortable with the playbook, I guess I'd say. You know, we have a lot of more stuff going in. You know, last year was the first year Coach K was here, so, you know, we were running a lot of base offense, you know. I guess I guess we'll just say that we're getting very acclimated with the new plays that are getting put in.
How does that feel? I mean, do you see teams building upon each other?
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, it makes me feel good because, it shows that Coach K has confidence in us as the offense. He has confidence in all 11 guys on that field, no matter who's playing.
You've had a good connection with Luke Grimm in any games that you guys have both kind of been available for over the past couple of years. Can you kind of talk about the chemistry that you guys have there?
With Luke Grimm, I feel like it's just always been natural. He was somebody, my first true freshman connection with my freshman year. After LJ, when we played Kansas State my freshman year, that was the first true freshman I was able to complete a pass to. So, ever since then, it's just we've just been having a great relationship, no matter whether it be on the field or off the field.
Were there any off-season workouts that the quarterbacks and the receivers kind of conducted along the way from spring ball till now?
No, definitely. I mean, with the quarterbacks always have to find with the receiver. I mean, always have to find time with the receivers, because we practice for about 2.5 hours. I mean, you have to be able to get some type of outside work, some type of extra work, because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to get better. You can't rely on the coaches to get you better. So it's supposed to be a player-led program, and that's what we're aiming towards.
You mentioned the playbook and Coach K, based stuff last year a lot. How much can that grow? I mean, he talks multiple all the time. I know you hear it, but how much can that mean for this team this year, especially early?
I mean, when he says multiple, he means multiple. Like, he definitely has a lot of variations of plays that he's able to run, different type of styles, I mean, I feel like he can go anywhere with the type of plays we're trying to run.
Yeah. And is there a responsibility on you and obviously the whole 11 guys out there, but specifically you to pick it up quick? So, hey, we want him to call when he wants to call, right? I mean, isn't that how you feel? And that's part of it.
For me, I mean, at the end of the day, if you play quarterback, you chose to play that position, and you chose to have that type of pressure on your back. As a quarterback, you're supposed to know the plays. You're supposed to know the playbook better than everybody else. So, I don't really look at it as pressure. I look at it as that's my job. I'm supposed to do that.
Andy was just in here talking about as long as you've got your 5 line from the quarterback, whoever else is out in the field, as a sign of the multiple aspect of it. It could be 4 running backs, it could be whoever. Do you see things that go in and you guys talk about things and like light bulbs go off and I've never thought about things that way, or I didn't think we approach the game that way. Now that you have these kind of base concepts installed.
I mean, he definitely introduces a lot of, new stuff. He asked my opinion on things, how I would feel if we caught this in certain situations. And, I'm just glad that me and him had that type of connection to where he feels comfortable enough to ask me about this play call in a certain situation. And I feel comfortable enough to be able to go to him and ask him, like, all right, coach, I feel like this play will work on this down. I feel like if we do this in this situation, it'll work. And, me and him just have that connection where we're able to talk to each other like that.
Do you have those often? I mean, how's that?
Whenever we brew up a new idea, like to brew up new ideas, at the end of the day, a new idea can pop up in your head when you're just, out, drinking some coffee. So, when he has a new idea, he's going to bring it up to us.
Did that happen as much last year? That back and forth and the comfort of you guys kind of going that way?
It's something that really grew over time. You have to be able to gain trust from everybody else. You don't just, when you meet somebody new, you can't just gain trust from them, in that fashion. Going through that season, with the staff, it allowed him to be able to gain that comfortability, allowed him to, learn more about us, off the field, including that.
Have there been times when you've said, no, I don't think that would work? Do you feel comfortable even saying that, just brought up then?
I actually have not, because, I mean, I feel like we talk enough before the games to know in this situation we want to run this play. In this situation, even though this might happen, I feel like you're going to be able to make that play. Even if you're got to get to the third progression, if the first guy's not there, I'm pretty sure the third or fourth guy's going to be there. I mean, at the end of the day, when I got here, my objective was to just get better as a quarterback and get better as a man, and I feel like going through this coaching staff, being able to come in, just allow me to keep growing as a quarterback, being able to learn different offenses, being able to learn different techniques from different quarterback coaches and different offensive coordinators.
Last year, Juan was definitely the most targeted person. How important is it for you to find a guy, or do you not? Can you a little bit?
Honestly, for me last year, I was really just throwing it to the open receiver. KJ had a lot of receptions because he got open. So at the end of the day, we have a great group of receivers that are out there, and they're going to try their best to get open, and I'm going to try my best to get them the ball when they do.
Yesterday, Lance said there was a couple of throws you wish you had back.
Definitely.
Talk about those, and then how'd you do
As a quarterback, there's always some throws that you wish you could have back, because it's little things. You could be 1 second off, and it results in a negative play. But for me, I just want to grow on that. Went back home, went back into the film room, learned from that, and, was able to come out here today, be able to progress from it.
Having comfortability with the offense and now coach in the second year and you being the leader, a lot of competition, as most coaches have been saying, there's a lot of competition with returning guys and younger guys. How do you want to be the leader and to lead this program more wins here?
At the end of the day, football is a competitive sport. You have to have depth in every position to play football because at the end of the day, it's always the next man up mentality. You can get hurt. So I feel like we just do a great job of pushing each other because, you're only as tough as your weakest link. No matter, not like that, but it's true. You're only as tough as your weakest link. If the guy behind me is not competing with me to try to get that spot, then I'm gonna feel like I have it already. I'm not gonna feel like I have to get better as a man and as a player.
Back to the receivers, what should Kansas fans know about Doug, and what will they see the first time he's out there with you?
He's going to make some people miss. He's one of those receivers I feel like is going to be able to get a lot of yak. He's able to get off press coverage. He's able to make cornerbacks miss. He's able to get off of, certain situations. He's very smart when it comes to route running.
Yeah, the last couple months have been great. I'm just kind of enjoying myself, trying to have fun with everything, focusing on stuff that I have to get better with, focusing on things that are going to make this team better and, try to get this program moving in the right direction.
You stick around here a lot? Did you get a chance to go back home? What was your workouts and where you're working on? How did you play that then?
Yeah, I got a chance to go home. It's always good to, kind of get away from football for a little bit and just, sit back and relax and enjoy other things in life. But I also have been, trying to work extremely hard just to better myself and like I said, again, just better this team and get us going in the right direction.
How do you feel about just the state of the competition at your position?
I feel really good. I'm actually excited that we have, this much depth at the position. I think it's only going to make me better and the other guys in the position better.
When you hear Lance say that he expects Jalon to start, what goes through your head when you hear that?
It kind of goes right over my head. That's nothing that I can control. I'm here to, once again, make myself better and do anything I can to make this team better.
Andy is talking about wanting to get the best people on the field, however that looks.
Mm-hmm.
What's going everything. Have you had any conversations with him, sort of like how the end of last year came back from injury, about what it might look like for you if you're not starting a quarterback?
No, I haven't really talked to him about that. Once again, I'm just kind of focused on making myself better and trying to get this team moving in the right direction.
What have you seen from Doug and Andy coming in here? Guy who's pretty regarded out of high school, didn't get a chance in Minnesota, comes in here, doesn't even make an impact. It's kind of your starting point. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, I've been very impressed with him. The way he's picking up the offense and, just the way he's been moving in practice and even in the summer. I think he'll be a good fit for us, and I'm excited to get to continue to work with him.
How different can it be for you guys when you don't have necessarily one primary guy in that occasion was where you have so many targets out there, so many guys who can kind of step up and make an impact?
I think it's great. I think we have, like you said, so many guys that can step up at any time. I think the guys that we do have are pretty special at the position, and I'm excited to continue to work with them and just grow every day.
In the spring, Craig Young said that you're the guy that gives him the most trouble. Would you say you're faster than him, or is he the closest one to match your speed?
Yeah, I think he's pretty fast. I'm always, trying to compete with his times and stuff like that. So, I think it's fun competition when you're working against the other guys on the other side of the ball too in certain aspects. So, yeah.
Was there a moment in the spring or first days of camp that showed you how fast he is on the field?
Yeah, I think, just seeing how big he is, first of all, and then him being able to move at that size, it's pretty special. And, I'm excited for him to be able to, be on our side this year and be able to watch him play.
Just need the experience coming in here as a transfer. So many guys are coming in as well. How can you now help them feel comfortable in a place that they haven't spent any time at the university, they don't really know anybody? What have you gone through?
I think just giving them the experience that I've had, coming in, I've been here a year now. I've been through the things, I know how this place works now. Just whenever they have questions, trying to give them my best input and, letting those guys know that I'm here for them. Yeah, I think, I consider Jalon one of my closest friends on this team. I think whoever, gets the spot, I'm here for whatever. I'm here to help him in any way he needs. Like I said, we're really close, so, I think there's no animosity between either of us. And, once again, I just want this team to be moving in the right direction.
How did that friendship blossom to two ways?
I think it was just kind of free flowing. Last year, being here, I was kind of a new guy, and he just came in and he was with open arms, willing to help me and allow me to help him. I think, over the year we just gotten closer and closer every day.
What's your impression of Ethan so
Ethan's good. He still has a long way to go. Obviously, this is his first couple months here, but I think he has potential to be really good. And once again, I'm always here for him to help him and grow.
Jalon said he was surprised by his athleticism. He's even making throws and he's a fast guy. You know, not necessarily think that looking at him. Is there a level of athleticism there you think that with time could be pretty dangerous?
Yeah, definitely. I think Ethan, he has a lot of potential. I think especially working with Coach Z and Coach K and Coach Lightpool, I think over the next couple of years he'll really develop and be a really good ball player.
Coach K talked about it, all the coaches really aren't having to yell as much, shout as much, because you guys all know what's expected, how to do it, where to go, things like that. Do you guys pick that up? I mean, do they seem like maybe they're on a different level in terms of comfort and things like that around you guys out there?
Yeah, I think after most of us being in this program for a year now, we kind of know what the coaches expect from us, and I think it's more of the players getting on to other players instead of coaches getting on to players. And I think that's one thing that the players have really stepped up in leadership roles, and not even just the older guys. Some of the younger guys are stepping up too. So.
Was that just natural, you think, with the time spent?
Yeah, I think it was just only a matter of time for that started to happen. The coaches, they were kind of really pushing that on us over the past year, and I think it's just starting to really blossom for us.
Jason, who's the fastest player on the team?
Me, without a doubt.
Who else is in the top three?
I say me, Trevor, and that third spot is kind of tough. I got Craig Young there, and probably Quentin Skinner. There's a couple other guys too, though. Me at top, always, though.